Okay, good afternoon to everyone. Let me start with the Shanti Mantra, which is very important now. Om Badram Karne Vishnuyama Devaha Badram Pashyemakshabiryajatraha Sthirairangai Tuštuvagum Sastanubihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vriddashravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishvavedaha Swasti nastarkshyo Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brihaspatir Dadhatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. First of all, I wish all of you a very happy new year. For all those who follow the lunar calendar, the new year starts today, Yugadi. So my wishes, and as I had mentioned in my mail yesterday, let Jagannatha and Sarveshwara help us go through these difficult times and restore back the normality at the earliest. Let me first give a little preamble to this session. I was thinking yesterday morning, in fact, I did not know about this Modi's 21-day lockdown announcement yesterday evening. But yesterday morning, I was thinking that we are at home and most of us are at home. And therefore, we have not had this practical Vedanta class for quite some time. So I was thinking maybe we should also use the online, because now everything is online. Our meetings are online. We are working from home. So even practical Vedanta must start working from home. So I was thinking like that. And as I was thinking like that, Ramesh sent me a mail echoing the same sentiment. He said, "Sir, why don't you do a e-class? Because now that most of us are at home, and I think we need this kind of satsanga now." So it just echoed, and then came this announcement by our Prime Minister that for the next 21 days, we will be locked in for mostly practical purposes. So this thought grew a little stronger in the night. That's why I just sent you a mail. And I think at this time, for the kind of things that we are going through, we really need satsanga. So therefore, that is how I thought we will have it today. Well, of course, we are going through very unprecedented things in our life. Great calamity in the name of this coronavirus. Therefore, I think it is very important. So let me first start with this Shanti Mantra. I think it is very important. This Shanti Mantra is very important for us. So it says like this: Badram Karnebihi Shrunuyama Devaha. We are praying to Devas that let us hear only, good things. Karnebihi Badram Shrunuyama He Devaha. So that is the first prayer. Let us hear good things through the years. Badram Pashyema Akshabihi Yajatraha. Those who are all Yajatraha, those who are all praying, we are all praying. So Badram Pashyema Akshabihi. let us see good things through our eyes. First we said, let us hear good things through our ears. Now this Shanti Mudra says, Badram Pashyema Akshibihi. Through the eyes, let us see good things. Stirairangaihi Tushtuvam Sastanubihi. Stiraihi Angaihi, with firm angas, mean our body and all that. Let us offer our pranams, offer our, namaskara and all that, which means let us have a healthy physical. That's what it communicates. Vyashema devahitam yadayuh. Let us get that kind of ayuhu which devas have. So let us live long. Vyashema devahitam yadayuh. So first of all, it says, let us hear good things. Let us see good things. Let our physical strength, all that be good enough. And let us have long life. Then it says, Swastina Indro Vriddashravaha. Indra, who is very famous, is a great. Naha, to us, Swasti, let good things happen to us. Let Indra bless us with the good things. Swasti Naha Pusha Vishwavedaha. Pusha is sun. Sun is the Vishwaveda. He is the one who knows the whole world. He is the source of light. He knows the whole world. So through him, let us get, let us be safe. Let us be blessed for all good things. Swasti Naha Tarkshaha Arishtanemihi. Tarksha is Garuda. Arishtanemi is one who can go uninterrupted. I mean, he can fly freely. So let Garuda give us that Swasti. Swasti Naha Brihaspatihi Dadatu. Let Brihaspati, the guru of the Devas, with all his wisdom, also bless us with Swasti. I think this is what we need. Therefore, I thought let us start with this dhyana of the Shanti mantra. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So all these Adi Daivikam, Adhyatmikam, Adi Bhautikam, all those disturbances, let us get peace out of all of them. I think that is what it is. Now we are all sitting at home. Of course, we are all trying to work from home and so on. And I am sure you would all agree with me that we end up every now and then trying to find out what is happening, what is the update, and in terms of what is, how many people, what is this, so many things, and WhatsApp has become hyperactive now. It is feeding us a lot of information. Well, I think it is more or less 5 lakh people world over who have been infected with this corona. And well, that is at one level, if you really look at it, 5 lakh over 600 crores is, you put 7 zeros followed by, number 5 or 6, point not. That is the number of people infected by corona. I mean, that's one way of looking at it. Of course, it seems to be spreading and so on. But I was feeling that, in fact, all of us are affected by corona, if you really ask me, because while this number which I told you are those who are affected from a physical sense, means the disease has gotten in and they are going through and all that. The remaining 99.99999 of all of us, we are affected in our mind. So in some ways, we are all affected. And well, so many thoughts. I think all of us are going through so many thoughts. Some of us, our parents are elsewhere. Maybe our son or daughter is elsewhere. Maybe think people are really stranded, so to speak. Suddenly, when these announcements have been made, and of course, transportation, all those are in a way sort of borders across states have been sealed and so on. So many thoughts go in our mind. Are my son, daughter safe? Are my parents safe? Uh, you know, then people have all these thoughts. Am I safe? Is everything fine? Because the more we start reading and seeing, it only adds more and more into our mental activity gets into more of a hyperactivity. Some people may start thinking, what happens to my job, economic, all kinds of this mind. If you give an opportunity, obviously, it starts working with its full efficiency, and it looks like um, it is happening to all of us. And there is this nagging fear in all of us. Will I also get someday? I mean, all these are different levels. So that's why I'm saying that all of us are affected. Some are affected from a disease perspective, and many others are affected from it's a sort of a manovyadi, if I have to use a word like that. So all of us are affected. So all of us need some kind of parihara. So that is why I thought. So because these kinds of thoughts, these kinds of things, I'm not saying they are wishful thinking. Um, um, maybe a little truth there, not necessarily entirely true. But the fact remains, these kinds of thoughts keep coming to us again and again. So therefore, what we need now is a certain kind of a aushadha for us. For all those who are physically affected, looks like there isn't still a sort of a medicine. They have to possibly go through it, and with the grace of the Lord, hopefully they will sort of recover. But for all others, we need some aushadha, which is to cure our mind, because it has now overtaken our mind. Honestly, over much we wish. I think so. What do we do now? That is the question. So the first thing I want to share, I mean, these are my thoughts, because all of us, I'm sure many of us have these thoughts, and we have been also sort of thinking about it. It's only a little bit I'm sharing it a little upfront as it was going in my mind. I think the most important thing, because when we look at all these, we need a sort of a counterbalancing thought in us. That's very important for us. So the most important thing for us to, first of all, also nourish, grow in our mind, also to keep reflecting on in our mind again and again, are a few important positive things that we have to really look at as we are going through. Of course, we are not able to go out, we are not able to really step out, buy something, or so many issues are there. So first of all, we need to grow certain positive thoughts, and these positive thoughts are the real things. They are not notional, and they are not something for the sake of satisfying ourselves. First of all, we will all agree that a catastrophe of this kind, it's a Mahamari, as our Prime Minister is saying, a big disturbance into our daily life of this kind. Invariably, whenever we face such kind of, it may be small, bigger, it may be of different kinds. One thing we will all agree, and one thing we will all be able to relate to, is the fact that if we are able to endure it with the grace of the Lord, of course, we will only come out stronger at the end of the day. That's the first positive. With all that is happening now, with all kind of challenges that we are going through personally, at a societal level, at a government level, globally, and so on, at the end of it, we are going to only come out stronger. at the end of it, we are going to come out only much more positive. I think we have to first, this is one sort of a pillar that we have to hold on. This is the most important thing that we have to hold on. We will only come out stronger. It may be that we discover life in a particular way, we adjusted something in our life, here is an opportunity to die. So many things can happen. We can only be better off at the end of all these. So I think that's the first positive thought that we must nourish, we must hold, we must tell our mind, keep telling our mind this issue again and again. I'm sure many of us are doing. I just wanted to sort of just share that. The second one is for a sadhaka like you and me, we are very genuinely interested. We have been in a satsanga for quite some time. So in a way, we are true sadhaks. So for a true sadhaka, such kind of disturbances and calamities are actually a test bed. I think we must understand it that way. It is a test bed for a sadhaka, because that is the mental frame that we need to develop. A sadhaka would not like to run away from such difficulties, rather face it, rather take it with all its ideas of sadhana that we have been going through, that we have been reflecting, we have been thinking through, and so on. Therefore, I think the second positive thing is, this is an opportunity the Lord has given to us to put our sadhana into practice. Whatever the sadhana that we know, whatever sadhana is required, I think we must take this opportunity as possibly an occasion to do all that. The third positive feeling that we need to develop is when such kind of disturbances, mental, physical, otherwise, all these hit us, I think we should always remember that it is an opportunity given by the Lord to draw our attention inwards much more than what we would have otherwise. So the question is, do we want to let go this opportunity and meekly surrender to the whims and fancies of the mind? Because the mind can be quite active now, and surrender to the mind, which will tame our character, and probably it will have the last laugh. It will toss us, as Manusmriti says, Manayeva Manushyanam Karanam Bandhamokshayoho. I think here is an opportunity. We should say, as Krishna says in chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita, that intellect must take over the mind. Here is the time for us to constantly remember that shloka, that Indriyani Paranyahu, Indriyebhyaha Param Manaha, Manasastu Para Buddhihi, Buddhestu Parasastu Saha. So I think that shloka we must remember, that we should use our sense of sadhana. We must use our intellect much more actively and try to tame the mind, because the mind can easily sort of take us all over the place. So this is, broadly what it is. So coming to the very specifics of it. Now, what do we do? Because we are going to sit at home practically for the next 21 days. Maybe we will sit and do a little bit of work. I don't think the work that we do is going to be as much as perhaps a few others are doing. Therefore, the question is, what do we do and how do we spend time? What are a few things that we can do? So this is a few thoughts are there in my mind. I want to share that and then share a few things from our own classes. I just went back into some of our sessions and so on. So the first thing that came to my mind is, I think this is a very practical way. I'm sure many of us are doing it. It's not that we are not doing it. I'm only using this occasion to remind ourselves. I think during such occasions, it is extremely important for us to count our blessings and our mind must go out to, in today's situation particularly, one way we should spend time reasonably on a daily basis is our mind must go out to two categories of people. The first category are those who stand at the front and fight the virus. I mean, the health workers, uh, the doctors, the paramedical staff, so many people who make that happen, the supplies. I think our mind must go out. We must have a very strong sense of gratitude. We should have a very strong sense of a feeling of gratefulness. Uh, that's that's one category of people. The second category of people that we must very strongly think is those who have been, and a good number of them are there in this country, a good number of them in this country who make their daily living only on the basis of what they get at the end of the day by way of something given to them, 100 rupees or 200 rupees or whatever dole or whatever is given to them. I think our mind must go to these two categories. The only way we will feel good is to count our blessings. We are having a different problem, but these people are really having a problem of a magnitude which is much bigger, much noble, much stronger. So I think this is one thing we must do, because these are the countermeasures when this mind gives us, processes data, gives us this, gives us that. Sometimes it really sort of pulls us down a little bit. Second thing that we must do is we must pray very intensely. I am telling you, during this time, if we can pray intensely for Loka Sangraha, it will have such a cleansing effect on us. We will feel much, much better. I am sure some of us are doing. We must really spend maybe half an hour in the morning, perhaps half an hour or 45 minutes in the evening. We must pray, and we must pray to the Lord. If whatever stotras we know, whatever we can. If not, at least sit and then in the puja and meditate for the welfare of those people, for this whole thing to sort of disappear as early as it can. This will have such a wonderful, it leaves such a wonderful thought in our mind. So this is the second thing that we must do. Please do it. I'm sure you are doing. If not, please do it. It really changes our flavor of the mind. So we must pray intensively for Loka Sangraha. That will have such a cleansing effect on our mind. Now we have enough time. We must do it twice a day. Very nice. I think that's the second thing. The third thing that I would say is that we must also, of course, wherever we can do a little office work and so on, I am sure we will do it. But we must take this opportunity to do self-reflection. I think we must ask deeper questions of life. This is an occasion, because when we engage our thought like this, the mind really starts falling in place. Instead of wandering and taking us elsewhere and creating a little bit of a fear. Well, a little bit of fear here and there once in a while is fine, but it should not create gloom in us. It should not overpower our intellect so much that we should not feel very, very, paranoid of things. Of course, God is great. So many things are happening. So I think this is an occasion for us to think about life, think about, who am I? We can really do what we have been talking for so many years. Nitya Anitya Vastu Vichara. There is a lot of issues which are opened up now in our own minds, in our understanding of life, in our paradigm of living. I think rather spending time reflecting on it will only make us a little wiser. So therefore, this Nitya Anitya Vichara can be done. I think we must do it. That way we can distract the mind away. Maybe for another half an hour, 45 minutes, we will be able to do what we want to do. I think it's very important that we do it. We have possibilities for that. And the other thing that we can do, this is a great time to hear some lectures. There are any number of great lectures available. If you really surf and see all over the place, lots of people are able to, talk substantially on so many issues. I think we must spend a little time on these kinds of things. Now, um, of course, we must definitely spend some time on satsanga of this kind. I mean, we can't have a physical satsanga, and that's the reason why we thought we'll have a e-meeting like this. We must be in a little bit in satsanga, where we can think a little bit, we can have some Vedanta vichara and so on, because all these are the aushadha for our mind, and all these will keep us strong, will give us more clarity about what is the larger goal of life. We will be able to see so many things happening now in a bigger picture. And I think that kind of a comfort we must develop. Now, given with this background, these are some of the thoughts I thought I will share with you. With this background, what I thought was I will share with you. I remembered of some very interesting discussions we had in Ayodhya Kandam of Ramayana. So there are some insightful sort of messages that we really went through. I decided I will cull out some of them and use this opportunity to share with all of us. So let me just take maybe another half an hour, 45 minutes, just share some of those thoughts which we went through, which are all very relevant for us today. So as we know, this is from Ayodhya Kanda. As we know, in the 19th Sarga of Ayodhya Kanda, Rama was called by Kaikeyi and Dasharatha, of course. And while Dasharatha was not speaking, Kaikeyi basically told him that you should go for all that, right? So this is immediately after that. Look at these some of these shlokas. What was Rama's first reaction? Rama says, "Asankalpitameveha yada kasmat pravartate yat akasmat pravartate nivartyarambhavarabdham nanu daivasya karma tat." Asankalpitam eva iha. What has happened is not really, at least for him, it is not something which was planned and worked out and thought about and so on. What we are going through is of that kind. In some ways, it is asankalpitam eva. Yat akasmat pravartate. Suddenly, this has sprouted. And all these that we are going through is of this kind only. Yat akasmat pravartate nivartyarambhamarabdam nanu daivasya karma tat. Is all these are arabdam, all these activities which are all happening, events that are unfolding, nanu daivasya karma tat. Don't think this is this mega rolling of the dice which we keep daivam cha atra pancham that we keep talking about in Bhagavad Gita. So Rama says, first of all, understand, these are all Bhagavad Leela. Everything has a meaning. We don't have to break our head too much beyond a point to find the meaning. It's important for us to understand there is a larger meaning to it and then learn to, take it as it comes. Etaya tottaya buddhya samstabhyatmanam vyahate pyabhisheke me paritapo na vidyate. So he says, etaya tu tvaya buddhya samstabhyatmanam atmana. You stopped it. In fact, it was stopped. And which was stopped, Abhisheke. He was supposed to have been coronated. Then he says, "Me paritapahana vidyate." It is not creating a sense of gloom or pittiness, self-pittiness. All those are not happening to me because I am able to understand. Rama says that anything which is asankalpita and akasmat, whatever happens, is is the activity of the Lord. So therefore, we have to remind us again and again and learn to play the rules of the game as we have been told by the experts and so on. And then we have to keep doing it. Then further, much later, Shoko nashayate dairyam, Shoko nashayate shrutam, Shoko nashayate sarvam, Nasti shoka samoripuhu. See, moment we get into grief, moment all these, the mind overpowers the buddhi and gets us into this deep sense of paranoia or grief and all that. That's not good. That's why he says, Shokaha nashayate dhairyam. This grief will only destroy our, this inner strength that we have. Shokaha nashayate shrutam. All the knowledge, all that knowledge that we have obtained will all get simply destroyed by this grief. Grief has this power to overpower to all that. Shoko nashayate sarvam. So it all whatever little good that we have, everything will be destroyed. It will just, it's like a flood which will take away. Nasti shoka samoripuhu. There is nothing equal, no better enemy than shoka. So why I'm saying this is this mind, we should not let the mind do too much of calculating what's happening and so on, because it only creates shoka. This was Rama is saying here. Shakyam apatita sodum praharo ripuhastatah sodum apatita shokah susukshmaha api na shakyate. He says, Shakyam apatitaha sodum. If an unexpected physical blow or something like that, or even some blow one can take from, praharaha ripuhu hastataha. If an enemy gives a blow, that can be, even handled. That's not a problem. Sodum apatitaha shokaha sukshmaha api na shakyate. But this grief, what is this grief? Grief is this play of the mind which tries to, somehow overpower the intellect. Then it runs the rules. So that's why I think we should provide counter, things for our mind. This is what I was trying to actually suggest by looking at this sloka. Dharmagya shrutimantah api chinna dharmartha samshayaha yatayaha veera muhyanti shoka sammuda chetasaha. Hey Veera, yatayaha muhyanti, those who are atheists, who have even been able to control, and dharmagyaha, those who know dharma, and shrutimantah, who have well read with all these ethics and scriptures and so on. Chinna dharma artha samshayaha. All these doubts about dharma and artha, which is important, which should overtake, all that has been resolved. Such people, even such people who are all very good, if the shoka takes over, they become sammuda chetasaha. Somehow their intellect gets a little blurred. So this is what Rama was told upon by, I think, Lakshmana was trying to counsel Rama, I think. So therefore, at this time, we must only make sure that our intellect is gaining control and not our mind. This 105th shloka in 105th sarga in Ayodhya Kanda, where Bharata and Rama has conversation. There are very nice shlokas which are all, we have discussed it. I thought I only bring it to remind us because they are all very important for us in the current context that we are talking about. Natmana kamakarosti purushoyamanishwaraha hataschetaras taschainam kritantaha parikarshati. न आत्मनः कामकारः अस्ति पुरुषः अयम् अनीश्वरः अयं पुरुषः अनीश्वरः. So he is, in a way, this person is not Ishvara, it is Anishvara. Means he has no control. There are things which happen which is beyond control. He is not independent to do, he is not Kamakaraha asti Purushaha. Not competent to do any act on his free will. Just look at here, with so much of science, with so much of money and wealth, so much of military power. But I was, ever since this whole thing started in China, I was reminded of this Vishwamitra story in Balakanda, where after he went to Vasishta's ashrama and found that this Nandini served so much, and then he asked Vasishta, give me the cow, and Vasishta said, no, we know all those stories. Finally, Vishwamitra said, that time was Kaushika. He said that Digbalam Kshatriya Balam, Tejo Balam Brahma Balam. In fact, this shloka keeps coming to me again and again, because look at what is happening today. China has the most powerful army in terms of number of people and all that things. But an invisible organism called virus has put everybody on the dock. So, you know, at some level, we are Anishwaras, if you really think about it. There are some larger scheme of things which are happening, and this is a part of it. Sarve kshayanta nichayaha patanantaha samuchrayaha sanyoga viprayoganta maranantam cha jeevitam. Say sarve kshayantaha. At the end of the day, everything physical, every one of our physical part, goes. And patanantaha samuchrayaha. All these wealth and all that position that we have will all fall. I mean, all this is all larger things. I'm not saying it should fall for us today, tomorrow. It doesn't mean that. It only says there is a much larger scheme of things. In these small things, small little things are happening to us. As long as good things are happening to us, we are very grateful to the Lord, and we may pray for such things to happen. But as things come, we will take it and go. Sanyoga viprayoganta, those who are united get separated. Sanyogaha viprayogantaha bhanti maranantam ja jeevitam. Everything after, the biggest viyoga happens after death and so on. So what Rama is saying is understand the larger canvas of our existence, understand the larger principle of the universe and all that. Within that you play. So when these events come, try to paint it onto that bigger picture and try to, dovetail with that kind of a reality and then keep going. Yata kashtam cha sameyatam harnave sametya cha vyapeyatam kalamasadya kanchana evam bharyascha putrascha nyatayascha dhanani cha sametya vyavadhavanti dhruvohi yesham vinabhavaha. Such a beautiful shloka. He says, Yata kashtam cha maha arnave. There's a gushing water. It's a huge amount of water in the flood time. You see it. There is gushing water in the that river, and what you see is two logs of wood. When they are all flowing through it, these two logs of wood actually just get together, and they sort of keep balancing a little bit as they keep moving. After a few kilometers, as they are moving together, suddenly the force of water is such that the two logs go like this. They just separate. Kalamasadya vyapeyatam. They just separate and go. Kinchit kalat anantram. Kalamasadya. Kanchana kalamasadya. In the same way, bharyascha putrascha jnatayah dhanani cha. All these sort of tags that we have in our life, all after a while it goes. This is a much larger canvas of life. So let that canvas of life remain with us. We will actually go through. So he's telling Bharata, don't get extraordinarily emotional. Of course, understand the larger scheme of things. Mother has asked us to do something, and so things are happening. Learn to take it that way, and given that situation, use your sense of wisdom, sense of appropriateness, and do what needs to be done. So that is the kind of message that you see in this shloka. Vayasa patamanasya srotaso va nivartinah atma suke niyoktavyah sukabhajah prajasmritaah. Vayasah patam anasya srotasah va anivartinah. So this water always finds its source. Srotasa is that final, um, destination, lake or a pond or whatever. So just like this water finds its final destination into the greatest Srotasam Sagarosmi, it's what he says in chapter 10 of Bhagavad Gita. Of all these water bodies, I am the ocean. So finally, everything goes to that ocean. No? So Atma Sukha Niyoktavyah. So Sukhabhajah Prajasmritaah. So Atma Sukha Niyoktavyah. So we should understand there is a larger source in which we all finally end up. So we should put Sukha Niyoktavyah. Do the right things, because those are the things which are going to make us always happy. So that is how we must spend our time, rather than getting too much distracted with some of these emotional things. We must go to the first principle of life and try to keep focused on that. Yete bahuvidaha shokaha vilaparudite tada vilaparudite tada varjaniya hi dhirena sarvavastha sudhimata. So he tells to Bharata, I understand. You are very emotional. You genuinely feel I ought to have been the king, and all that is fine. But understand, events happen in life for 100 reasons. Therefore, there is this larger scheme of things in which all of us are operating. All that he said. That's why he says, Yete bahuvidaha shokaha. So, like these, there are so many such occasions are there, no? Shokaha, vilapa rudite. All these are possibilities for us to do vilapa and grieve and so on. Varjaniyaha, varjaniyahi dhirena. A person with a sense of wisdom must be able to hold on to his dhairya, the dhira. Sarva avastasu dhimata. With that kind of a frame of mind, we should face things as it comes. Don't give up that easily. Don't get to a lower level of understanding and get too emotional and all that. Understand there are larger things that are happening in which all these are events that come and go. As you see different scenes that are happening in the movie. Because Krishna very nicely told us, I have told this 1,000 times in all our classes again and again. He says, Matra Spashas Kaunteya, Sitoshna Sukha Dukkataha. Most important is Agamapayinaha Anityaha. This will also come and go. They are Agamapayinaha Anityaha. So we have to develop and have that kind of a frame of mind. Sarva avastasu dhimata varjaniya. So all these are varjaniya. The shokas are all to be kept at its place. I mean, have it, but don't allow it to overpower you, and lead a life like that. That will be much better. So, if you look at all these shlokas, what you find is there is some kind of a message that we get here. We saw all these. I only pulled all these slides, and I thought we will revisit some of these issues. Because this is what Rama has said. This is what Valmiki has said in Ramayana. I think we must get inspired by, larger principles of dharma, because, and when I say larger principles of dharma, what it means is we should understand there is a much bigger picture. It's a larger canvas of life in which you are there, I am there, you and I meet, we see, we go, all these happens. We have our near and dear around us, we have the ecosystem, we have the society, so many things are there. They are all to be understood in a much larger scheme of things. And we must appreciate the importance of time. Time does many things. So it is a certain manifestation of time in which we are going through. Understand the universality of fate, which means that we will keep putting our efforts appropriately, what needs to be done. We should keep doing what we needs to be done. And there is this larger principle of Daivam Chatra Panchamam, which will anyway keep playing. Let us not get too much, worried about other things. I think we must keep doing what we need to do. We should develop deep awareness of limitations of mortal life. I think this current crisis will put many of us into this thinking, I am sure. We will look at larger issues of life and so on. We should contemplate on transient nature of everything that we value in our life. Even this pandemic, all these catastrophe is also transient nature. Agamapaino anityaha tam titikshasa. I think we should develop that titiksha bhava in our mind. So this is the other medicine that we have to give to our mind. Otherwise, the mind can play its trick too much and so on. This is a shloka from Mahabharata that we are actually seeing. Najatu kama na bhayan na lobhat dharmam jahya jivitasyapi hetoho nityo dharma sukha dukke tu anitye jivo nitya hetuhu asya tu anityah. Najatu kamat na bhayat na lobhat. He says on account of kama, on account of bhaya, on account of lobha, which is greed. Jivitasyapi hetoho, even if it is life threatening, he says dharmam jahyat, na jahyat. He says don't give up dharma. Why? Nityo dharma. Dharma is eternal. Dharma is forever. Sukha dukke tu anitye. Sukha and dukkha will come and go. Just to, tweak a dukkha that we are going through, if you do something which is against dharma, he says it is not worthwhile. Sukha dukke tu anitye. Etena karanena nityaha dharma. Whereas dharma is nitya. Jivo nityaha. See, our life is for us, forever. Our life is eternal. Hetuhu asyatu anityaha. The current scheme of things that we are going through and all this world, they all may be temporary. Whereas, Krishna beautifully said, Nasato bhavate, na bhave, nasate, I'm just missing it anyway. So it says, when there is sat, there is no abhava, and when there is bhava, there cannot be a sat. Nasato bhava vidyate bhava na bhave vidyate satah ubeyoropi krishnantah anayota tattva darshibhi. That's what is one of the shlokas in chapter 2. So this sat is always, it cannot be abhava, and that is the quintessential nature of ourselves. All these small things will come and go. Let us not get too much worried about all this. I would want to end this with this grand prayer. This is the grand prayer Kausalya gave when Rama bid goodbye to him when he went to the forest. This particular sarga is such a beautiful sarga. Some grand blessings that Kausalya did to Rama. I think we need all these. So that's why I thought I will, put this. Yenmangalam sahasrakshe sarvadeva namaskute vritranashe samabhavat tatte bhavatu mangalam. He says, Yat mangalam sahasrakshe sarvadeva namaskute. Though all the devas are worshipping that Sahasraksha, Indra, and that mangalam, that blessings that he got when he destroyed this Vritra, this person Vritra, that kind of a blessing be with you. This is what Kausalya said to Rama. I think we need these blessings for us. Amurtodpadane daityan gnato vajradarasya yat aditir mangalam pradat tatte bhavatu mangalam. So Amrita Utpadane Daityan, when these devas were when they were trying to do the Amrita Madana, and they were trying to take it, and when Diti's sons are Daityas, Aditi's sons are Adityas, who are Devas. So Aditi, whatever blessing she gave to Vajradhara, who is Indra, when she gave, profusely blessed them so that they succeed in their effort to get the Amrita, that kind of a blessing be with you, is what Kausalya says. There are many shlokas like this. I just picked up only these two shlokas. I think we need this kind of blessings, which we should pray to the Lord, that He endows and blesses us with this kind of strength that we need now. So with this, I will just close the session with this Mangala Shloka. Swasti prajabhya paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahishaha Gobrahmanebhyo shubhamastu nityam loka samasta sukhino bhavantu kale varshatu pajanyah prithvi sasya shalini deshoyam kshobarahito brahmana santu nirbayah aputra putrinas santu pautrinah adhana sadana santu Jivantu Sharadam Shatam. Let me also recite two very important shlokas. Many of us may know those shlokas, and maybe at least one of them. And they are very useful for us. We should keep reciting these shlokas. Apazamapahartaram Dataram Sarvasampatam Lokabhiram Sri Ramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamya Dhanvantre Mahavishno Piyusha Kalashodbhavam Dehime Bhagavan Shigram Dirgamayum Arogata. With this, let me close this session. It was just in my mind that we can spend a little time in this kind of satsanga, and that is why I thought I will spend this. I am now thinking we must have our practical Vedanta Sunday classes as usual in the same manner. So this Sunday we will resume our Ramayana classes at the same time, 4:30 to 6. Thank you, and Hari Om. Okay, so let me end the meeting.